I'm Jimmy DeMetro, and with me is Mary Miles, who is the new president of the Hellenic Film Society USA. That's a position that I have held for the last few years, and I'm delighted that Mary was chosen to take on the responsibilities, and that she is the right person for the job. I'm absolutely certain of that. I'd like to tell you a few things about Mary before you get to hear from her. She is the founding president of an entertainment law firm in New York that focuses on all areas of entertainment and media law. This includes film, television, literary publishing, digital media. She has served as counsel to numerous award-winning producers, directors, writers, actors, and television hosts. Also, among her clients, multi-platinum recording artists and even sports teams. She's also an adjunct professor at the Fierstein Graduate School of Cinema and at the School of Visual Arts, where she teaches entertainment law to filmmakers. She has served as secretary of the board of New York Women in Film and Television. That's the organization known as NYWIFT. And she has been a board member of the Hellenic Film Society USA since 2019. I think I've said it all. I have known Mary for many, many years, ever since she was a youngster. And I think the world of her. And as I said earlier, I'm delighted to introduce you to her. Madam President, let's hear from you, Mary.
Thank you, Jimmy. You're very kind. It's a lovely introduction. I appreciate it. Thank you. And I appreciate you years ago incorporating me and asking me to join the board of the Hellenic Film Society, because we wouldn't be here without that. Now, I would have nothing to do if it weren't for all the hard work that you've done over 17 years of curating a festival in New York. So what started this whole thing?
Well, it has been a wonderful, even to some extent, life-changing experience for me. I had just retired from teaching, and a business organization in New York decided they wanted to start a Greek film festival in New York. It wasn't an original idea. There had been others before that. Two that I remember, both of them sponsored by the Greek government. So they decided to start a festival in New York. Someone on that in that society knew of my interest in Greek film and asked me if I would take over the responsibility, and I did. And it's been a wonderful, wonderful experience. It's never, as you know, and you will see this yourself. If you haven't, it's just it's not ever a one-person job. There are a lot of people involved, and it's an awful lot of work, and it takes real cooperation and a good devoted team to get the work done. And I've been lucky enough through the years, 17 years, to have good people next to me, and who helped make sure that everything was on track. You know, Mary, in preparation for this conversation, I looked back at our program booklets over the past 17 years, and I was astonished. Do you know that in the past 17 years, we've presented 152 feature films, 55 documentaries, and 119 short subjects. Those numbers absolutely amaze me. I can't believe it. Isn't that something? And you realize that these are films that would have never been seen. Most of them, 99% of these films, would never have been seen in New York or elsewhere in the United States if it weren't for this festival effort. And well, as I said, we started in 2007. In 2018, with the help of my colleagues, we established the Hellenic Film Society USA, all volunteer nonprofit organization. And this is where we are now, and this is the organization that you are now leading. I must say, I'm not disappearing. I'm staying on the scene, but the day-to-day operations and the tough decisions that have to be made literally on a daily basis, just about, are now yours. Don't mean to frighten you away, but
I love the giggle. Like you said that delightfully. Thank you. No, this is a big undertaking, and you're not going anywhere. We won't let you.
Well, it's Greek films are getting better and better. They're so wonderful. I remember when I was a youngster growing up, there were Greek films. My parents would take me to Greek movies. My sister and I would be dragged to the theater. Actually, it didn't take much dragging. I think we enjoyed going as well. And every other weekend, I think there were Greek films at a now gone cinema called I think the Cameo Theater. And then up the block, several blocks up, there was the Tivoli, where every Sunday they had a double feature of Greek films. Astoria had two functioning theaters, Greek movie theaters, 7 days a week programming. When I was in my teens, we lived in Washington Heights, Upper Manhattan, Upper West Side. There was a neighborhood theater there that every Monday and Tuesday featured Greek films. So Greek films were part of the landscape of my growing up. And the irony is that as these films got better and better, the opportunities to see them became fewer and fewer. And there was a point where I would say close to 8 to 10 years, we had not seen a Greek film in New York or just about anywhere in the United States. And that's when we started back in 2007. And it's been just getting better and better every year. And as far as the quality of the films is concerned. And, I wish I had statistics on how many admissions over the years. But, I don't think it's far-fetched to say we had anywhere between maybe 50 and 55,000 tickets sold over a period of 17 years. I can't really prove that, but it makes sense. I think that's probably a fairly accurate estimate. So it's been very exciting, very exciting. We've met people from the audience who share our interest, wonderful people who attend faithfully and support us. I know, Mary, you and I have been to the Thessaloniki Film Festival for several years now. We meet so many directors and actors and people who are so welcoming and so excited about having their work seen in the United States. And we're very grateful for that. And we always look forward to putting on a good show for our people and to support, of course, the Greek film industry in any way we can.
And it definitely takes a whole team. You've done a wonderful job of creating a board that we truly are friends. And
yes, we
like each other as people, and we respect each other a great deal.
Yeah, I think that's very important, Mary. You're absolutely right. We share a dedication to what we do. We all believe in what we're doing, and we work hard to fulfill that goal, that mission. And I know I'm confident that things will be even better with you at the helm. It's time that the young leadership take over, and that's you. that young people step up and take on the major responsibilities. I know I'm looking forward to the years ahead. I think we'll have good things to talk about and to present to people, our audience.
Well, I certainly hope so, and I'm very excited about what we've achieved in the last 5 years as an organization under your guidance.
Yeah.
And with the understanding that we can do so much, right? We try to work with Greek filmmakers and understand what the scene is like in Greece and what's happening there. and bringing those select films that we can and do here. But it's also the audience. The audience has to come and enjoy it with us.
Absolutely.
And enjoy the
Absolutely.
fruits of our labor. And we enjoy watching them enjoy the fruits of our labor.
Absolutely. And people are supportive. You know, I love there isn't a screening when someone or several people will come up to me and let me know what they thought about the film they just saw. And I'm sure it happens to you too. We're all at the screenings. The entire board is usually there, and people approach each one of us to tell us what they thought of the film. We obviously, you'll never get a film that's going to please everybody, but I think we try to select what we really believe are the best films available to us. And I think people understand that. And even if they don't like a particular film, I think if they see the value in it, if they understand why it was selected, I think that helps. That helps people understand what we're doing and why we're doing it. I know, like me, although you are quite a few generations behind me, you as well were raised in a very Greek household. Did you have a similar experience were Greek films available? Probably not as many as there were when I was a teenager and in my early 20s that were available to me. Were you taken to Greek movies as a child by your folks?
I was, but it was also tough because what was appropriate for a child, right?
So, oh yeah, exactly. Although
but I remember this I went to the cathedral, a Greek school, and so we had karaoke as little kids, 5, 6-year-olds, 7-year-olds. That was very amusing. And being raised bilingually, I never noticed the transition in the language, but it does speak to you. It does touch a different part of you. Now as an adult, I notice it even more to hear phrases that my grandparents used to say or behave in ways. So it stirs something within me that isn't otherwise stirred because of the love in your household. But yes, we would go to Greek films, and I don't remember the film. I was maybe 10 years old, and I just remember it was a very sad film. And of course, back then they used to smoke in the theaters, so it was very cloudy, and the projection was going on and the different lights, and it was a very sad movie. And I remember it was the first movie that made me cry. And I remember that moment of having that realization, the empathy of watching a story, but also the realization that art can move me in that way. It's not just for laughing or giggling or making me pass the time, but it moved me. And I found that very strange.
That's a very interesting point. Mary, to be honest, a lot of, especially the dramas, were turgid melodramas, yet they resonate. If you ask me about a film I saw last week, I probably won't remember details. And yet films I saw back in the early 50s when I was 5, 6, 7 years old, or older. Look at that, I'm hiding my years already. But if I remember those films so vividly, and it just amazes me. It amazes me that there are certain films back from the early 50s that are so vivid in my memory. It just fascinates me. Talking about the movies today, of course, they're very, very different. Greek films today are sophisticated European cinema, and many of them are challenging, and almost all are very well made. They usually are on a low budget. However, I think the people who work behind the cameras are so expert at what they do that the films look like much more expensive productions than they are in reality. And of course, the acting has reached a very, very high level of achievement in Greek cinema. And it just seems to me that films are getting better and better. Still a lot to be done, obviously, but there are now directors who are the films play all over the world in festival markets throughout the world. But even now, commercially in the United States, which arguably is the toughest market to crack, Greek directors are making some headway in getting their work seen, and that's very exciting. And it's just a matter of time before there are more and more who get into the mainstream. The problem is that foreign film market in the United States is in terrible trouble. The film industry is in trouble, but the foreign film industry in particular is in hard times. A lot of the independent art cinemas have closed, or streaming services now handle most of the foreign language films, and it's up to streaming services, which I'm not a fan of, and museums and film societies like ours that now have the burden of getting these films out of Greece and into the homes and theaters all over the country.
And I think that's the main thing. The business, at least in Greece, the business is catching up to the art. And so filmmakers have realized this is very much a commercial effort, not to the diminution of the art, but bringing up the saleability, the commercialability, understanding that your audience will not just be Greek, it will be an international community. And I think while theaters are having a tough time, audiences are not where they used to be even before COVID.
That's true.
That's a general truth across the board that everyone faces.
Yeah, and that's a very serious issue.
But there's nothing that's going to ever replace the theatrical experience for any film. The wide screen, the sound, the music, it's a different experience that will never be replaced. But I think the streamers offer a wonderful opportunity for filmmakers to have a broader platform and showing their art. And one of the things that we did during COVID, of course, under your leadership, was pivot to a digital platform. We couldn't have people in theaters. So the component that we were able to now develop non-in-person content as well, like we have a YouTube channel that's thriving. It has millions of views, to almost 2 million views. Who would have thought our little...
Isn't that incredible? Yeah, it just surprises me.
It's wonderful. And so I think it's all been coming in a step, but now it's all converging. And so I think that people have more access to information. They can watch interviews with their favorite actors or directors, which we're trying to create more content on, and they can come see their films. And, we always try to highlight special events, as in anniversaries for Greek independence, Maria Callas, Women's History Month. So it's a convergence of the art with the business and the availability of all our technology, which I think is wonderful.
But that will continue to be a challenge for you, Mary, as you take over the leadership of the society. Having an audience attend is of major importance. I watch films on streaming, but it's like watching television. As you said, it doesn't replace, at least not for me, and I'm sure I'm speaking for you as well, doesn't replace the experience of sitting in a darkened hall with total strangers all around you, enjoying a film, especially with a comedy. You're home and you're laughing alone. It's just not the same thing.
I was just going to bring that up. 2 months ago, we had Black Stone. Showing at the Museum of Moving Image, and I can tell from the very beginning the energy in the room. That audience was alive. They were ready, and it was so much fun to watch it with people who were laughing and engaged, and they would, ooh, ah, and it was just wonderful. It was so interactive. You're never going to get that on your couch.
Mary, you reminded me, I was speaking of the back in the 50s and 60s, the Greek films that would play every weekend in New York. The Tivoli Theater, which had Sunday screenings, it was like a pilgrimage. I mean, that theater was packed. You would go in and the smell of keftedakia would hit you the minute you, people brought their lunch, brought their snacks. They gladly shared with the total strangers sitting next to them. It was just a wonderful, wonderful experience. But that's the way movies should be enjoyed, surrounded by people, and you laugh together, you cry together, you think together, and that's pretty exciting. So you will have to work on that very, very much to bring people back into the theaters. We need to get people outside of off their couches and back into theaters. We choose the best venues, and I'm sure you're going to continue that. I know you and I agree on this. We try to we do not try, we do book the best venues that we can afford, and they tend to be among the top places in New York City to see a movie. And also, I'm sure you're going to continue this as well. We provide some assistance to other festivals across the country. There are other Greek film festivals that are equally successful. The one in San Francisco is the oldest. There's the Los Angeles Greek Film Festival. There's one in Houston. Chicago is on and off. There's a festival in Atlanta, a new one in South Florida. And Stony Brook University on Long Island also has an annual Greek film event. Everybody's trying to do the right thing as far as Greek films are concerned.
You've had your finger in those. Don't be shy about it. You have very much assisted
not all of
people.
those that I mentioned, but
no, not of course, but some of them have come to you and asked for help, and you've been very gracious in helping.
Well, not just to me. I mean, it's to the society, and that's what we're here for, to facilitate as much as we can the screening of Greek films.
But you have been the thought leader, the trendsetter, shall we say, of bridging the gap in a time when we didn't have digital media.
Yeah, no, I'm Mary. I'm a modest guy by nature, but I'm very proud of. Truly, I'm very proud of what we have done. But I also know that it's not just me. It's the people I work with and the people who support us, the people who come to the screenings, the people who make donations, the foundations, the government grants that we receive.
Everyone is important. It doesn't work without everyone.
Absolutely. And it's so from a cultural point of view, let me get somewhat culturally defensive here. I always say this, it's almost a cliche. We don't just project Greek films, we project Greece. And this is really what it's all about. We're one of the toughest things for me to accept as the son of immigrants. The erosion of the language, how more and more with each generation, the Greek language seems to be vanishing from Greek American households. Well, Greek films are a way of holding on, of helping keep the language where it should be. So there's all sorts of there's an ethnic subtext to everything we do. And that's part of why I take pride in what I've done and what we've done, because I think every little bit helps. You always say, what is you say about what's to remain of Greek culture, Mary? I couldn't possibly paraphrase it. You put it so well in your own words.
Well, I don't remember, but I was thinking about this exact topic the other day, in the sense of our Greek culture, our heritage, our religion, our language survived 400 years of Ottoman occupation, and we can't make it past a second generation. Right? How sad, truly sad. And the Greek language is so rich and beautiful. Yeah. And we have college students, for God's sakes, which is wonderful, a wonderful resource that New York has. We have so many colleges and universities. And I love seeing non-Greek students coming to watch Greek films because they're taking a Greek class. Yeah. And it's wonderful.
The irony, Mary, we live in a country that takes pride in its diversity. And here we are just sort of letting everything Greek just slipped through our fingers. I think the line, well, since you didn't say it, I'm going to paraphrase it. You say something about we're much more than, I think, bugatsa, is it? And feta cheese. And that's part of what we have to keep in mind and try to present
yes,
and
exactly.
preserve as much of who we are and what we are all about.
There's
Greece,
not
of
only
course,
a pride of our culture, holding on to our language, of course, our religion, but it's also Greek culture evolves as with everything. And it is not the Greek culture of our yaya and papu, and it is not the Greek culture of 50 years ago. And so I think it's wonderful to see the today's Greek culture projected and have an understanding of where Greece is going as a country in today's world, in today's marketplace.
absolutely.
And you're not going to get this insight if you don't travel to Greece, if you don't go to Greece yourself, the next best thing is just go watch a bunch of Greek films.
Right.
And
well, change is inevitable, but obliteration is not. So,
right.
so we
like
have to try to hold on to whatever we can that identifies us and that connects us to our roots.
And I think one thing that Greece is doing superbly well right now is navigating the tax credit and incentive programs.
Yeah, I wanted you to talk about, because I know
really
you've
are
been
coming out as a
involved in that.
leader in Europe. First of all, who doesn't want to go work in Greece? You say, hey, should we shoot in Greece? No one's going to say, oh, terrible. Of course, everyone wants to go. And I think that helps not only the local and national economy, but the crews are becoming so much more sophisticated in working on different budgeted films, small budget, big budget. The cast, you mentioned the Greek actors, they're sublime. They are extraordinary masters of their craft because they are well versed in the theater. They are well versed, TV and film and theater are very different styles of acting. You need to understand different things. And they have to study all of these. And they're extraordinary that I think really, if you think about it, the British have a similar tradition in acting and rooted in theater. Whereas in America, we have TV actors, we have Hollywood actors, everyone's in their little box. And on occasion, they'll do a little Broadway or theater. But the Greeks are just extraordinary actors. What they do with very little, meaning a look of an eye, a gesture, conveys everything sometimes. Yeah. And the crews are second to none. There is nothing that they lack in expertise and professionalism. Everyone speaks English there anyway. And I think that there are really wonderful things to come from Greek cinema.
Yeah, and I think that there's such an influx now of foreign productions in Greece using Greek crews and Greek actors. Yeah. It's bound to have a positive effect as well on Greek films, as that learning from one another, understanding something about the world market, that is bound to have quite an impact on Greek films as well. And what you said about both the crews and the acting, I'm always fascinated in Greece. There's no star system in Greece as far as the acting is concerned. Nothing. You can see an actor or an actress in a lead role in one film, and in the next film, that person will have a minor part. It doesn't matter. The work.
Right. They're a chambermaid. They're a chambermaid changing the towels.
There are no small parts. There are no unimportant parts. No. Every role has to be played, has to be interpreted to perfection, and that's a real tribute to the people who do the work, the actors, and of course, as we said, the behind the scene crews as well. So very, very good at what they do. So very good. Well, Mary, I don't know what else we can talk about. Do you have any plans for our future, for the Film Society?
Well,
where would you like to take us in the coming years? What would be the ideal situation for the Hellenic Film Society under your leadership?
I think if I did nothing but maintain the status quo, it would be a success, Jimmy. That's how high you set this
That's,
bar.
I wasn't looking for a compliment, Mary. Thank you. No, but
There are many things, it's just a matter of understanding where we are as a culture, understanding the trends. I really would love to, of course, our Greek audience is our core, and we have wonderful people that come to our screenings on a monthly basis at the Museum of Moving Image and come to our festivals, and we rely on our regulars, as I like to call them, and they're wonderful people, cinephiles and Greeks true and true. But I'd love to see more non-Greeks, and I started seeing that a lot this year. And it really pleased me enormously to see the non-Greek community starting to lean in and get engaged with us and give us our feedback of, I didn't realize this existed, or I've never seen a Greek film before and it was spectacular. It's just so lovely to be able to take our culture and take the hard work that people put into these films and be able to push it to a broader audience. And
absolutely.
I think the broader the audience gets, the better the content will rise to meet that demand and challenge.
Mary, I think if I'm not mistaken, there were 30 million visitors to Greece in 2023. If each one of those tourists saw a Greek film when they come back from Greece, think of what that could do to the Greek movie industry. That it would be, it's almost too good to imagine. But that is,
and it's the best publicity, right? It works both ways. Greek film advertises Greece, and Greece itself advertises Greek film, and it's a wonderful symbiotic relationship. But I'm very excited about this next year ahead, and building things and building, it sounds very cliche, but strategic partnerships and building on the bridges that we have in Greece, and creating stronger footholds and bringing more content and drawing in bigger audiences. And I love it when people give us feedback of, oh, that was a bit of a downer, or I love that film, it was amazing. And it's always great when people engage. And again, as Jimmy mentioned, it's a volunteer organization. We do this because we love it. We do it because we feel it's important, not only to feel good and hang out with people we like, but for our culture and the film industry, and all for a number of factors. And so that engagement with the audience is always important. And I say the more the merrier.
Well, Mary, I just want to say people over the years have been extremely kind to me. They've been so supportive and so free in expressing their gratitude for what we do, and I'm certain that this kindness and this generosity of spirit will be extended to you. I wish you the best success possible. You'll find comfort in the fact that you are surrounded by fellow board members who support you and share your work ethic. And I know we're many good things lie ahead. So as far as there's unity and understanding and comradeship, we'll be fine, and we'll get over our post-COVID crises and move forward to bigger and better things. Mary,
and maybe
again,
we'll offer some burrata and feta.
well, listen, doesn't hurt.
Never hurt.
Mary, again, I wish you the best.
Thank you, Jimmy.
And to all those who are listening, and to all of those who have supported us, please continue to be there for us. We are going to be there for you. And here's to bigger and better things in the years to come. Mary, I wish you the best.
Thank you. And you're not going far, so don't worry.
No,
don't
no,
count
no,
your
no.
yeah.
I'm not.
There's no rest for the wicked.
Thanks, Mary. Be well.
Thank you.